That much is super clear to me. And weirdly enough, this doesn't actually surprise me either. Maybe because this is one of the products that makes it so obvious that they're thinking a lot about the future. Like Apple talks a lot about AR and how they want things to just be clear and just overlaying things onto your real world. But with today's technology, again, that's not quite possible yet. So instead, they have a VR headset, but they are using the highest quality camera feeds possible and the highest quality displays on the inside possible to let you almost feel like you're looking through it at the real world. So you put this headset on, and the first thing you see is pass-through. I mean, you might as well call it transparency mode. And the sharpness and the colors and the very low latency are all so good that I really don't experience any eye fatigue no matter how long I am in this pass-through mode. Despite my eyes being inches from these screens, I can interact with the real world around me, pick things up and look at them. I can walk around between rooms and not trip on things. I tried having people throw things at me and I could just catch them. I played table tennis successfully with the headset on, which is crazy if you think about what's actually happening here. The total latency, Apple says, is 12 milliseconds. That's from the outside light hitting the outside sensors to the inside image being updated and hitting your eyeballs. That's incredibly fast. And that includes the exposure time of the cameras. That's the specially designed R1 chip at work. But, as Nilay from The Verge has put it, it's still cameras and screens. Like, the technology of today isn't magic, so you still have to expose a camera sensor and set ISO and shutter speed, etc. And you can kind of play around with this a bit just by looking around, like at bright objects or high dynamic range environments. And you know what? For the variety of situations I've thrown at this thing, it's handled it very impressively the whole time, mostly prioritizing smoothness and high shutter speeds at the expense of cranking up the ISO and getting way more noise, especially in darker environments. But you can still see stuff like the hand occlusion break sometimes or look really janky when you put your hand in front of something. You can still see objects start to float a little bit more in X, Y, and Z space when you're in much lower lighting as opposed to the usual perfect position. Again, it's the best I've ever seen with today's tech, but it definitely still has a long way to go. So honestly, the ecosystem is, I would say, the strongest argument for a regular person going out and buying today's version of the Vision Pro.